Welcome to episode 4 of Leading the Standard with ATOL. In today's episode, we'll explore ISO mastery and your pathway to certification. Drawing on the content from our Lead the Standard newsletter edition 50, we'll cover everything from gaining audit experience to consulting and beyond. We'll share valuable tips to transform your passion for process into a rewarding career as Jackie and I guide you through the practical steps to becoming an ISO certification auditor. Now, as you know, we are recording live, so expect a few bloopers along the way and stay tuned until the end when we open the floor to the questions for about today's topic or anything relating to ISO management systems and auditing from our student community. So get ready to learn and lead the standards in your industry. Let's get started. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Leading the Standards with ATOL, and we are excited to have you with us today for episode 4, and we're going to be talking about ISO mastery and your pathway to auditing certification auditing. There is your first blooper of the day. I am Kelly Taylor, and joining me as always is my co-host and ATOL director, triple certified ISO auditor Jackie Stapleton. And hiding in the wings today we have quite a few members of the ATOL community, so thank you all for joining us. And I know that we've got people from all over the world today, which is really exciting. So today's episode is actually inspired by the many questions we've received from aspiring auditors who are eager to move up the ranks and become ISO certification auditors. And these inquiries have come in through email, through LinkedIn, and all of the other channels that we have. And they highlight a common challenge, and that is gaining the necessary experience to advance your career. So Jackie has already shared some invaluable advice on this topic on edition 50. Look, this is full of bloopers today, live and real. In edition 50 of our Lead the Standard newsletter. But today we're going to take a moment to look at some of the real world questions we've received and dive into those a little bit deeper. So the first query that we want to share with you today was, I am an internal auditor and I am trying to be an external auditor, and every application I send gets rejected because I don't have external auditor experience. How can I get that experience if I don't get a chance? And the other one that we get received as well is, I need help getting into the auditing world as an observer and then as an auditor, and I would be extremely grateful if you can give me any help in this. So these are a couple more great questions that many of you can relate to. And I guess that's a great segue over to you, Jackie. So what can you tell us about the pathway to becoming a certified ISO auditor?
Yeah, it's interesting because looking at that first question that you mentioned, where is it? It says, every application I send, I get rejected because I don't have external auditor experience. How can I get it if I don't get a chance? So it's like, you know, the chicken and the egg situation. And I completely understand. So it is a common challenge. Look, I think it's a great challenge because it keeps the people out that really aren't that keen and don't want to be challenged or go, oh, this is too hard. So those of you that do get through, then at least you're committed enough to, you know, put in the work to eventually get there. And there was a few key words there: put in the work and eventually get there. So it's not something that will happen overnight, but if that's where you want to head, these steps that I'll share with you shortly should start moving you towards this. So that first question that Kelly shared, I actually received that in the last month or so on LinkedIn, which prompted me to write edition 50 of Lead the Standard. And how many was it? There's 6. I came up with 6 steps that I just responded to this student with. So to give you my short answer, the 6 steps that we're going through today, and they're in our Lead the Standard newsletter, is number 1, get experience as an internal auditor. Number 2, get experience implementing systems. Number 3, get experience auditing other business systems. Number 4, consult. Number 5, offer yourself for observations with certification bodies. And last but not least, number 6 is retain an audit log. Now, some of you might already have ticked off 1 and 2. That's great. But, you know, we need to cover everyone and different levels of experience here. All right. So this is a journey, essentially. And this journey is exactly these 6 steps is what like I followed to become a certification auditor. I still do a handful of certification audits to keep me, well, so I can share stories with you, essentially. So let's break that down, and I'll extend on each of those 6 areas, okay? Before I get into that, though, I do want to share the quote that I used in edition number 50 of our newsletter. I want to share it because it's one that I have carried around, used, quoted for decades. I'm sure both my sons also use it because they've heard it all their life. It's like, oh, here we go, Mum. Yeah, sure, Mum. But I thought it was really relevant here. So I always used this quote in reference to luck. So, or more so, there's no such thing as luck. You know how some people say, oh, you're really lucky you got that. You're really lucky you got that. And I always used to say, this is how I used to use the quote, there's no such thing as luck. It's preparation meeting opportunity. Okay. When I was writing this news article, I actually did some research into how I use the quote, but I actually found the quote is a little different to how I've used it over the years or heard it originally. And it's the real quote is, success is where preparation and opportunity meet. Yeah. So I'll say it again. Success is where preparation and opportunity meet. So the reason I wanted to share this is the key word there is preparation.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and these 6 steps that's all about preparation. It's moving you towards the end goal. It's shuffling you towards. We have to be prepared, because then when an opportunity does come up, hey, I'm over here, I'm ready, I'm waiting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. There's nothing like
Yeah.
You can't always expect somebody to bring you something you're not willing to work for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose, Kelly, your journey with Auditor Training Online has been similar, hasn't it? You've been here for nearly 9 years. You started off on customer service just like I did. I used to do customer service as well, everything. We've both done everything. And each little step that we do, each new role, each new task has moved us towards a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not always the direction you think it is either.
No, absolutely. That is such a good point.
Yeah.
Such a good point. So these 6 points will take you in a direction. And going off the back of what Kelly said, like, I never actually thought I wanted to be a certification auditor. I started off wanting to become a consultant, and I did. I consulted, I ticked off that step in those 6 steps. But then when I was exposed a little bit more, the opportunity came up, I took it and thought, I might as well give this a go. And I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than consulting. So yeah, it does sort of take you in different directions. But the key thing is preparation. Okay. And as I said, that's been my life's motto. And it's always helped me to be prepared. And as I said, Kelly has lived by it in the 9 years that we've been working together as well. It's just, and this is something I actually share. Again, I know I talk a lot about my sons, but they're sort of living the new world now. And when they come back and they complain about their jobs, it's like, okay, what can you get out of it? What's in it for you? What can you learn? What can you take with you in your toolkit, in your backpack? And you can use it at your next job. You've always got to be shuffling forward. Okay, don't always see it as, oh, they're getting everything out of me, I'm losing, this is just like a one-way street. Look at it from your perspective as to what you're gaining, and that's your preparation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a really important message, Jackie. So I'm sitting here thinking of the conversations I've been having with my son lately, who is gone from being a world traveler to working in the office with very different people of very different ages and demographics. And there is a conversation. And it is certainly something that I've learned in the last 9 years of, it's not always about the other things. It's, what can I learn from this rather than woe is me. But also, can I change this? If I can't, well, then move on.
Exactly. Yeah. Make the choice. Yeah. Yeah. So, it is a common thing. And I suppose Kelly's son and my sons are, again, in their 20s. So they're going through that shuffling stage of finding, where they want to be in the world with regards to their career. But it doesn't end there, does it, for us older chickies? Yeah. It still goes on. So it is, I suppose, maybe as we get older and through that, we become hopefully a little bit wiser and know how to recognize these opportunities and the preparation that we need.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd really love you all to keep this in mind and be patient and just start ticking these things off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got anything to add, Kelly, before I start ticking these things off?
No, but I do have some thoughts on a couple of them as we work through.
Okay.
So, yeah, but
okay,
I do
cool.
think the key things out of that is, it's definitely about embracing the opportunity and recognizing the opportunity. And you do need a good segue from last week. It is about patience.
What was last week? I can't remember.
And persistence.
What was it?
Patience and persistence.
Oh, yeah. Consistence and persistence. Yeah. Consistency. Yeah. True.
Yeah, look at that. Anyone would think to prepare this in advance.
But it does apply. And sometimes it gets hard. And I think I said this last week. Sometimes I think, I don't want to do it this week. But I know you just have to keep showing up. And look, if you don't want to do it and you have a break and you think, I need a rest, that's okay as well. Because sometimes if you have a break, you come back with even more fire in your belly and you do even better. So that's okay as long as you are consistent and you have that persistence as well. That all leads to your preparation.
Yeah. Look at that. We're following your journey from certification into auditing.
Yeah. Yay. Okay. So we'll start breaking these 6 down, shall we? And you butt in, Kelly, where you see something that I don't, obviously. So the first step I had was getting experience as an internal auditor. And look, a lot of us start here. That's my first exposure to ISO 9001 it was. I worked with a consultant at a software development company in the late 90s it was. And that's where I learned all about quality and the application of it. And then I used to do the internal audits under the guidance of an external consultant until we were at a point where I took over the entire role internally. So maintaining and improving the quality management system and conducting the internal audits. Kelly conducts the internal audits here. When she first interviewed for the role nearly 9 years ago, internal audit wasn't on her job description or the Seek ad.
It was not on the radar. It was not even.
No, but I don't want to say you fell into it, but you demonstrated characteristics that showed us that, you would be really great at this. Okay, that compliance mindset, systems, processes mindset. So guess who took advantage of that? Kelly. So I actually, when I talk to people that are involved in organizations, businesses that have either a management system in place or not, doesn't matter, you can still conduct internal audits. Okay, just put your hand up. Voluntarily conduct some internal audits on their system. This reminds me, back in the day, I don't think Exemplar Global does this anymore. I was a skill examiner because I think their personnel certification has changed over the years. But prior to these changes in the last few years, you were a skill examiner for Exemplar Global. So that meant I went and I observed new auditors conduct audits. Okay. And I remember this particular observation I went to. There was actually two auditors, so they were sharing it. They both wanted to get their personnel certification. So I observed them conduct an audit. They conducted the audit on their mate's business. He built trailers for mines.
Genius.
Their mate's business was not certified to any system, but they conducted an audit. Okay, so that they could go through the process of demonstrating to me as a skill examiner what they were capable of, that they could meet the performance criteria that I had to tick them off with. So I just thought that was a good thing to share, because you can actually conduct audits, internal audits on any system, because if they're a business, well, hopefully they've got some systems in place.
Processes. You would hope.
Well, but then if they don't, there's the gaps. So then you get practice in writing up non-conformances.
Yeah.
Okay. So look around you. If you're not already in a role that includes internal auditing within the business that you're working for, so I'm making some assumptions here. At this level, you're working on a salary, more than likely for a company. And as I said, that's how I started. That's where Kelly is as well, amongst other things. Conduct internal audits, even if it's off your own back. Okay, practice it. Put some audit plans together, a timetable, go around and ask some questions, write up some findings. Like, surely your boss or the owner of the business will welcome improvements. Okay, so take some initiative there and sort of open the floor. If there is like a management system in place and they do have an existing internal auditor or an internal audit team, put your hand up. Like, we get lots of people on our training, don't we, Kelly, that have been put their hands up to be on internal audit teams.
Yeah. But again, to that same point, we do with our virtual training, so many people, we start the session. Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm Kelly. This is us. Tell us about you. Oh, I've never audited before, but I do this, and this.
Yeah.
We've audited. So again, it's coming back to that, recognizing your skills and what you're already doing, and using that or looking at that with a different perspective to see, or getting someone else to look at it for you.
That's a really good point. Yeah, definitely. Because, you could already be conducting internal audits, but that's not what it's called. If you're reviewing procedures to see whether people are following it or coming up with improvement ideas, well, you're conducting an audit.
Yeah.
It's really simple. I'm working with a client at the moment to support them to implement a quality management system, and I'm just facilitating it. But one of his questions was, when are we going to start the internal audits? So we've already started.
Yeah.
It's because we're already looking at what you've got in your system and identifying gaps, and then you're filling the gaps. Yeah. We've already started internal audits. This is what it looks like. It's really as simple as that. So sometimes you don't actually recognize that you're already doing them. So that's a really good point. Thanks for reminding me of that, Kelly.
Welcome. That's what I'm...
Any other points in this one before I move on or segue to the next one?
No, I think that's really, we've covered that well. If anyone thinks otherwise, please feel free to leave some comments in the chat. But yeah, I think, look, there's a whole episode sitting there ready for internal audits and what they are and what they look like.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
true.
trying very hard right now not to sit down and type some ideas out myself. But yeah, internal audits are certainly much less formal, I guess, than people expect them to be. It's probably a way to think about that.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you could write that newsletter then.
I'm regretting opening my mouth.
I'll add you to that task.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Awesome. So everyone saw that. It's recorded. It's live. Kelly has nominated herself. No. Okay.
Thanks, Tommy.
Okay. So that's the internal audit side of things. So to recap, you could already be conducting internal audit. So look at it from that perspective. And maybe if you just formalize it and change how you're looking at it, you'll recognize that you're already doing it. 2, why don't you formalize it and just start conducting internal audits? Okay, plan, prepare, conduct, do a little report. Keep it simple, as Kelly said. Don't overcomplicate things, and or put your hand up to volunteer on the internal audit team. Okay, so that's the first step. Second step, what did I say? Implementing systems. Yeah, and this sort of goes, I suppose it leads on from the internal audit, I suppose, step, isn't it? So to me, it's like, get involved in the business systems. If you're putting your hand up for internal audits, you're already getting involved. Okay, as I said, what boss wouldn't want, improvement opportunities to be identified, streamlining of systems to reduce costs, so it's only a win-win situation. So get yourself involved in the systems. So here's something else you might not realize. If you're having, team meetings each week, okay, and I suppose we can go back to us, Kelly, like every week at ATOL on a Monday at 9 o'clock, you'll know where we are. We're at Monday Muster, we call it. So each department represented by a team member comes along to Monday Muster. And really, we share what's on our plate for the week. But as you know, Kelly, it prompts discussion as to, well,
yeah,
I'm probably the pain there. It's like, well,
the question asker, the self-nominated meeting auditor.
Yeah, well, that's right. Who's got a question? Kelly asks, and I've always got a question. But sometimes it is about the processes, isn't it? I reckon more than likely every Monday, isn't there like one of us asks about a process because you're the queen of processes, and we look at how we can do it better, or how does it work? Is it working for you?
Is it working for you as well? Just because someone's written it doesn't mean it works for the user. That's
right. And you even recently have changed projects and how each task works, or the workflows, to suit the main people using it. It has to suit, with feedback, engagement from people, of course. So the point I was trying to make was, and I've just realised then, that our Monday Muster does include systems review, process improvements.
Yeah, we take minutes. We add those action items into our improvement register, or into our daily. And that's to a top management meeting where they could be
exactly. That's where I'm heading. So if you look at possibly the team meetings that you do attend, what's being discussed? Is it the systems? So here's an opportunity for you to understand more and possibly be more involved as well, because that's something else we do at Monday Muster is, well, who's responsible for this? Who's going to manage this? So if there is an opportunity, it's like, me, I can give that a go. So, this is where I was heading with implementing systems. Get more involved in the systems. And just like the internal audit step, the first step, really look at it a little bit differently, just how I just did with Monday Muster, because we just do it naturally. So quality is just inbuilt into what we do, which is what it should be. So sometimes you don't actually realize that you're covering it.
Yeah.
So again, take a fresh look at what you're already doing, particularly in team meetings or even informal discussions, Kelly.
Yeah, and I think that's important to do that take a fresh look. Now, you can certainly, and we talked about this a couple of episodes ago as well, and sorry, Melissa, to be using you as an example again, but the processes that you and I have been doing for 9 years, we wrote a procedure, but we didn't use it because we just did it. Melissa looked at it, took her nearly a day to do what took us half an hour because the systems, the processes weren't there. So taking on the idea, oh, hang on, she thinks differently to us, gave me that opportunity to have a fresh look at it, as well as get her input on it. So while we're talking about becoming ourselves certification auditors and looking at all of these things, again, don't be afraid to ask somebody else, look, what do you think about this? Does this work for you? How can your input help me help myself improve and the business? So again, feedback from peers and mentors is not a bad thing in this space as well, if you're struggling to identify those opportunities yourself.
Yeah. So it does go back to what we were saying earlier, is like, what's in it for me? Yeah. What opportunities have I got to learn? So obviously, and that's a great reminder, Kelly, because this is about moving towards becoming a certification auditor. And you might be thinking, what are those two talking about? Because so far, all they've talked about is internal audits and internal systems. But it's preparation, remember. It's getting this experience, okay? And it's also exposure. And you'll see what I mean as we move forward in these steps, okay? Because you're getting yourself in front of people that will give you the opportunities.
You'll get noticed.
Exactly.
If you're just plotting along doing things on your own, no one's going to notice you. But you put your hand up and ask the questions. It's very hard to miss Jackie in a Monday Muster because she's there like this. I have a question. So be like Jackie. Ask the question.
Ask questions. Yeah. So bear with Kelly and I. We will get there. Okay. But these, what are they?
They're steps.
Yeah, they're sort of the framework. I know it's not quite there yet, but they're the steps that you need to take. Okay. These are the steps I have taken. So, and I've successfully moved towards it. So this is why I'm sharing it with you. That's a good segue to the third step.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So what have we done so far? Internal audits, get yourself involved in those, as well as the systems of the business. That's 1 and 2. So then the step 3, I mentioned about audit other businesses' systems. Oh, I love this. And I always like sticking my nose in things, particularly other people's businesses and asking how they do.
Be clear about that. Other people's businesses, not
businesses, not other. Yeah, that's right. It can all wrap up together. But I love, like, if I'm standing in a retail store, I always like looking over the counter and seeing what are their processes, having a read of what they might have over the bench, and they do it this way. And I love looking at their software systems, like when they're ringing up the sale. It really interests me. And I have friends with businesses, and whenever they need help, because of course I love talking about this, I say, can I come down? Can I take a look at it? So I'm putting myself I'm giving myself the opportunities to look at other people's businesses and their systems, and then I just ask questions. So what are you laughing at, Kelly?
I've just realised that I do exactly the same thing. I just was not aware of it until you started saying it. And that's really embarrassing.
Because I can see I do it to the extent I know I was out probably when my younger son was a bit younger, maybe he was 13 or 14, starting to get embarrassed of his mother. And he could see that I was about to say something to this person in a retail store, and it was providing feedback on the process. And he looked at me and said, "No, Mum, no, Mum."
Which is where our boys are different, because Isaac would say no, Bailey would just walk away and leave me there to myself.
Yeah, Isaac was just trying to prevent this from happening. I was doing it in the nicest possible way, but again, there's opportunities. And as I said, look, if they're strangers and you're a customer, you might be overstepping the mark. Fair enough, I get that. So, but as I said, with friends that have businesses, I love going there. I love looking around and seeing, what they have on their notice boards, how they schedule their work and so on, and just ask questions. How do you do this? Oh, and then what do you do? So, you're learning about other businesses' systems that way. Okay. And this is one question I had from a client in the last few months that was moving towards becoming an ISO consultant. That was her main concern. Oh, but how will I know about all of these other systems?
Yeah. You don't need to know them all.
That's the other thing, isn't it? Like, yes, if look at other businesses' systems, put yourself in those situations where you can learn, but they're all really much the same.
Yeah.
So, I'm working with a lab at the moment, right? I have very limited experience in laboratory work. It's just the same. It's just that they get customer requirements, then they put something together to meet the customer requirements, then they do it and check it, and then they deliver it. It really is the same. So it's just a matter of trying to understand the process. You don't need to understand it intimately. Okay. Actually, sometimes it's even better if you have that high level view.
And sometimes it can be better to not understand it at all, because that will drive your questions, that will get you
exactly.
And that's again coming back to Melissa. Melissa didn't know our systems. She didn't know how to use them. She started asking questions that made us go, "Oh, hang on, hadn't thought about that." So that lack of knowledge of a system, it can be an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. It allows you to ask the basic questions.
Yeah, you can't make assumptions if you don't know how the system is. I use it this way, but they might use it differently. So that lack of knowledge, use it to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. So whose business are you going to go and stick your nose into next?
Oh, I'm jumping into mum and dad's. This could be fun.
Oh, yeah, see? There's another opportunity. I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. So, okay, just recapping on the 3 steps, and then you can butt in and tell me if we've missed anything. The first one is internal audits. Second is systems, business systems, internally. And the third one was look at other businesses' systems. Do you have friends that have their own business? Can you go and ask some questions and see what they do and how they do it? Just to get that experience. Like Kelly, her mum and dad have a business. She can go and stick her nose in there and understand different things. Okay. So, again, even if you as a customer, I love seeing the processes that people follow when they're dealing with me as a customer. Okay. It really opens my eyes to, either good or bad methods. So take advantage of that. So that's the 3 steps. Okay. You're right to keep going, Kelly?
Keep rolling. Let's keep rolling.
Okay. So then once you've got those 3 things under your belt, you've really got this experience, why couldn't you help these people and go, you know what, friend, thanks for sharing your system with me. Look, you've mentioned you're really struggling with this. I might be able to help you here. Okay, so you're taking that a step further. Okay, you're formalizing it, right? You might be able to put something together. I did this with a friend's business. They had a floor covering store. You know who they are, Kelly. And I went in. I love asking them questions. I was quite involved with their systems because I just loved asking questions and always visited them and so on and so forth. So the next natural step was Sammy, my friend with the business, and her husband, we identified, oh, we're really struggling with this. Do you have any idea of, how that we could do this better? There's an opportunity. So it's like, yeah, for sure. And, whether you do it on mates rates or not, that's completely up to you. But to me, it's an opportunity. Again, if you give it a go on, mates rates, then, you're getting the experience, okay, to fill the gaps, to build something, to improve their system. And then you can even formalize it even more, can't you? So essentially, you're consulting.
And if you're not comfortable doing what Jackie just suggested, pitch it as an opportunity, not just for you, but for them. Because a business that doesn't have any systems or good systems or whatever that is, having someone come in with those fresh eyes and giving them that feedback is an opportunity for them and their business to grow. So yes, it's about you, but if you're not comfortable, pitch it as use that term, opportunity. This is going to be of a benefit to them as well. So it's kind of everybody is getting their slice of the pie, I suppose, out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it doesn't have to be a certified system.
No. A small business that doesn't have a system or that doesn't have a process. I know of a small business at the moment that's trying to sell the business. They don't have any systems or processes documented. There's a massive opportunity there. It's on the other side of the country, so I can't help them. But there's lots of people out there. Use social media to kind of test out some local businesses. If you don't have friends businesses, there's always someone who is willing to help or is seeking help. So there's always an opportunity for this.
Exactly. And if they don't have a certified system in place, the practicing is about using the standards to align their system to it. You don't even have to use those words. I work with several consultants that have completely changed the language of ISO 9001 as an example. And the people they work with don't even know that they've got a quality management system in place because the consultant just does not use that terminology. They're business systems consultants, but they use 9001 as a framework. And that's all we're suggesting. Use it as a framework.
We do it here.
Absolutely. It's embedded in everything that we do. So that's consulting. Okay, so that's 4 steps.
Yeah. And if you want more about that, check out last week's episode where we talked about it for an hour.
Oh, yes. And so that would be Leader Standard number 49 as well, if you want to read it on LinkedIn. But our whole podcast last week was around consulting. Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome. It was a long time ago.
I know. Okay. Number 5.
Oh, this is a good one.
Offering yourself for observations. And you know what I thought when I was writing this, and just full disclosure here, these things I have been supported by people that I know that work for certification bodies. So before I wrote this Leader Standard number 50, I sort of messaged them, asked them a few questions. What does this look like? Because they're the ones that employ or put contract or like certification auditors on. Okay. So they gave me the ideas as well, right? Because it's been, I don't know, over 10, 15 years maybe since I've been doing those certification audits. So it may have changed. I need to stay current with the people that are still working in there and actually put people on board. And during those conversations, this is something that we discussed. It was around observing. Now, I want to go back a step. If you're consulting, and even if you start off consulting and they're not certified, don't have a certified system, what's the next step? The next step is, oh, okay, we do want to, go for our 9001 certification. Can you help me? Because you've opened up those opportunities. All right. So you're consulting, you've put in a system, and I have seen this time and time again with the consultants I work with, because guess who comes on site when you get certified? Oh, it's a certification auditor. And as a consultant, you're normally involved in getting quotes from different certification bodies. Guess who you form a relationship with? The people that work in the certification bodies that know whether they need new auditors or not in specific, I suppose, industries. So, see, you're giving yourself opportunities. This is where I said exposing yourself, people. You're exposing yourself to new people that can take you to the next level. Okay. We did not get to this level at internal audit level. You're giving yourself experience there. You could, if it's certified and the external auditor comes in, if you start involving yourself in the management system, you might get a bit more involved in the external audit and you're exposed to the external auditor. But even more so, if you're a consultant, these certification bodies will see you, okay, as a consultant. Kelly, did you say something like that before? Be seen?
Yeah. You've got to be visible. You have to be visible. Make sure that somebody notices you for the right reasons. Don't be that annoying person who's constantly giving your I don't want to say uneducated, but don't be giving off your opinion when you necessarily aren't asked for it or given that opportunity. But just be nice about it. Be
easy to get along with.
Absolutely. Yes.
One, businesses don't want to work with you if you're a pain and you're hard to work with. Then certification bodies and the certification auditor will also see, oh, they're really great to work with. They did mention that they'd be interested in doing some contract certification audits. What if we, get Jackie to give it a go? Okay, she's demonstrated that, she can get these systems up and running. Her internal audits are amazing. She's really great to get along with at the audits. Let's give her a go.
Yeah. And again, that comes, coming back to last week's episode, we talked about networking and making sure that you are networking and finding your people and making sure that the people that you are connecting with are the right people, and you have that choice of who you work with as a consultant. Remember, as an auditor, people have a choice as to whether or not they work with you. So, and again, that's the same as a consultant. So be the person that you would want to be auditing or working with. Make sure that you are giving off the right vibe. To quote the castle, it's all about the vibe, and make sure that again, you're making the right connections with the right people in the place that you want to work with, but make sure that you're the person that they want to work with as well.
Yeah. And you want to be the person that makes it easier for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, this is something I share with my sons, particularly my youngest one who works in retail. I said, so are you making your manager's job easier or harder? You don't want to be the employee that makes it harder.
Yeah.
You want to be the one that makes their life easier. So the same as an auditor or a consultant. Okay, that's something I learned moving into certification audits. Just make it easy. Don't cause trouble. I'm not saying, be abused or, take it on the chin. It's just just be easy to get along with. Make it simple for people to do their jobs.
And if you're easier to get along with, chances are that's going to reflect back on the auditee, and they're going to be easier to get along with. They're not going to push back. They're not going to put up brick walls. If you're easy to get along with as an auditor, then your auditee is going to feel much more comfortable and open and give you those responses that you're looking for. They're going to be appreciative of your presence rather than anxious and not so keen to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another article you can write, Kelly.
I'm going on your leave tomorrow.
So I suppose with this topic 5, where I've said offering yourself for observations, I did go off on a bit of a tangent because I wanted to make it clear that along these steps and pathways, you are making new connections. So with these new connections, because you're consulting now and you're moving into that space, you will be exposing yourself to certification bodies and certification auditors. If there's an opportunity, again, preparation meets opportunity, why don't you stick your hand up and say, oh, I'd really love to follow you around or observe an audit. Okay. And remember, if you're doing that, they're also going to be observing you as well. And normally these observations are part of onboarding with certification bodies anyway. So take advantage of that opportunity. That's in step 5.
We just take a moment there, Jackie, just to highlight again that role of the observer in the audit team. So when you are observing, you aren't there to participate in the audit. You are there to observe. So that is when you do sit back, mind your P's and Q's and observe. Use your eyes and your ears, not your mouth. And that's really important to understand that role of the observer in the audit.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And especially in the role of, I'm just dipping my toes in the water to see what's going on. Again, make it easy. Don't make it hard. Okay. All right. Let's hit the last one, which is retain an audit log. Right. So if you're creating all of these opportunities for yourself, make sure you record it in an audit log of some description. And remember, when you're consulting, which was step 4, which was step 4, there is an element of auditing there as well. So you can put that in your audit log, because remember, you're reviewing a system, identifying gaps and filling it. Reviewing a system, identifying gaps is an audit. Simple as that. So luckily, and I don't know how you do this, Kelly, because you're the technical person, we have a really awesome audit log that our wonderful Melissa created for us.
Yes.
I guess we'll put it in the link somewhere with the video live stream for our students, as well as when the podcast goes up. And it's also in Leader Standard newsletter 50.
Yes, but if you're impatient like I am, you can just jump on the website, hit the resources tab, and it's there.
Oh, is it? It's there.
I believe.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have a
If it's not, I'm a liar. It'll be there in 20 minutes.
Awesome. Okay. So it's a really great audit log. I think it's a quarterly one where you can start mapping out your audits. And look, if you truly are keen and dedicated to moving into certification audits, I would encourage you to retain this audit log, because when the time comes, this is part of the evidence that they'd like to see. Okay. Don't be like me. Luckily, I still had my audit schedules from, I think, 5 years previous. I had to go back in time and update an audit log because I really wasn't aware that there was such a thing back in my day. So I've been using one ever since. In my audit preparation checklist that I follow for my preparation of my audits, the last step is update my audit log. And so it's just it's so much easier to do as you go, as you're conducting or planning and preparing for your audit. So then when the time comes, you have this evidence. right? So I really feel that point number 6, your audit log, wraps everything up together. What do you think, Kelly?
Absolutely. And again, as you said, to wrap it up, in your internal audits, pop them on there too.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and you know what? Once you start putting your audits on there, and then you might go back and reflect on it and think, you know, one day you might think, oh, I'm hardly doing anything. I don't do internal audits. But if you're recording it in your audit log, go back and have a look and go, oh, wow, I'm actually doing this. I am an auditor. I'm doing it. Look at all these audits I've done. So it's a good way of, you know, having a visual record or reminder of what you really are achieving.
Yeah, make it a habit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, a recap on those 6. So the first one was get experience as an internal auditor. Then, what's the word? Involve yourself with the system implementation, improvement processes, wherever you might be working. Because remember, with these first 2 steps, I'm under the assumption that you're working within an organisation on salary. Then, with that experience, why don't you have a sticky beak at other people's businesses, their systems? Really show an interest, learn how they do it, ask questions. Okay, even more fortunate if you have friends that own businesses, because you can even go along for the day and just really follow it and learn how people do things. And you might pick up ways that they can improve, aligning it using the ISO knowledge as sort of a framework. Then you can extend on that and go, yeah, you know what? I'm really, really enjoying this. I'm doing this on mates rates. I might actually, there's some opportunities to help my mates to implement some improvements or systems, or they might have someone in the same industry. So this is something I actually didn't mention. This is sort of like that portfolio career I've mentioned maybe a few weeks ago. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to do this while you're still working for the business that, you know, you're doing your internal audits for, etc. Okay, this is on the side, so a portfolio career, right? And I think I talked about this last week in more detail, because as you pointed out, that leads to the consulting. So if you want more information on that consulting side and becoming a consultant, the previous episode, we talked about that. So that would be episode 3 of the podcast, and it would be the LinkedIn newsletter number 49. Yep, for more details on that. And then, of course, once you are consulting, you're coming into contact with the people that you need. Okay, remember, what's in it for me? What skills, what am I gaining from this? Where are the opportunities that I can take advantage of? What are the opportunities I'm prepared for? Okay, going back to my quote at the beginning, it's not mine, but my favorite one. All right, so once you've made those connections, you could be given the opportunity to observe a certification audit. But guess what? You're probably already observing if you've got a certification auditor on your doorstep, you know, reviewing the business that you're a part of building, right? So you can see if you're at this point, you're really putting yourself out there. As I said, exposing yourself to the right people, right? And then that's your preparation, and then taking advantage of your opportunities. And of course, retain your audit log. Okay, and really take a look at the audits you're conducting. As Kelly and I said in the first step, you might be already conducting audits. Okay, but you're just not calling it that. Okay, be creative. Give yourself a pat in the back and say, no, you know what? This is an audit. I'm reviewing this system. I've come up with improvements. I'm going to log that as an audit. Okay, so there's the 6 that wrap up together. And as I said, and I can't remember the exact words in the in the email or the message that we got. It was something like, I get rejected. I don't have experience. How do I get it if I don't have the experience, and so on? And Kelly, you may have said these words along the lines of, well, it doesn't happen overnight. You just have to keep plugging away at it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that's me. Do you have anything else to add? It's very unusual for you not to have any.
No, we've been covering it really well today. I'm quite haven't needed to interject too much. Thanks, Jackie. But I am going to open up the floor to our ATOL community members now. So whether you are tuning in live here on Zoom or following us on the live stream through our social platforms, and we are keen to discuss not only today's topic, but any other questions you might have about the ISO world, or even any advice on career transition. So please pop your questions now into the chat. I do have one here, Jackie, ready and waiting, and it does relate to observations. It is, can I charge for them or should I be paid for them? And how many observations should I be doing before?
Okay, so observing certification audits. I don't know what it's like today. Oh, yes, I do. We actually came across a lady in the last year or so, Kelly, that was doing observation audits, and she was doing them for free. Yeah, and there was a lot of them, which I thought was a bit rough personally. Yeah, it might depend, and I know we might have someone watching this that has some experience working for certification bodies that might be able to help out. But when I first started, my first audit, I was observed. So I had to actually conduct the audit. So it wasn't me observing the audit. It was actually flipped. I had to conduct the audit, and I was observed by a senior auditor, and that's how they determined whether I was competent then to conduct audits on my own. I did that for free. Right. So I am a bit like that. And look, it might be my downfall as well. But as far as I'm concerned, if I want to be given opportunities, sometimes I might have to do it for free, but not as often as that other lady. I think that was pushing it. I think they were just taking advantage of her.
Yes.
Yeah. Or low value. There's some consulting firms out there that subcontract, and they'll I suppose charge for your time, and then you get paid, half or something like that. And look, yes, you might get paid less than what you get paid if you were doing it on your own, but you haven't had to find the clients. You haven't had to deal with it. You don't have to chase their money. So I always think, use those opportunities to learn. When I first started consulting, I did something very similar. I subcontracted for a much larger ISO consultancy, and I reckon I probably got paid half what I could have been charging, but I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it as an opportunity. I was seeing another consulting firm's system and learning from that, and I was getting the opportunity to work with other businesses. Yeah. So I don't have the current real answer for that.
I do. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Has that person helped you?
Yes, thank you to those peoples in the wings. This is why we love our ATOL community. I confirm that if most CBs will not pay for observations when onboarding, that's most. They cannot confirm all, obviously. If you are observing for experience, normally you will not get paid. However, if you are the one being observed, yes, you will get paid. The person doing the observation of inexperienced auditors will also get paid. Yeah. So, the difference there in the observation is if you are observing for your own experience, it's a voluntary situation for
Yep.
the most part. If
Yep.
you are observing a new auditor, then that's a different story as well. So thank you to the wonderful people in our ATOL community for answering those questions for us.
I knew she could help. So
Yes.
yeah.
And I think too, as we were just talking, we did have a student who was very lovely and had a huge heart and was very much taken advantage of. So I think in that space, it's really important to know your worth and know that there is a limit to how much of your time you can give away for free before you start to have that enough experience to say, hey, this is, I am worth more than nothing. Also, great point just came up again in the chat. Thank you. Another way to get experience is just to be asked to be added to an audit team and follow along.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I do not have any other questions, but that was a great one to end on. So I am going to wrap us up there today, Jackie. So as we do close today, I do want to thank everyone for joining us on this journey. I love that word. No, I don't. I hate it. I don't know why I say it. Through the world of ISO standards and making the exciting career opportunities that they represent. So remember, every step that you take towards understanding and leveraging those ISO standards can pave the way for a transformative career, as we've displayed over the last 4 weeks already. So keep pushing those boundaries, explore those opportunities, take advantage of those possibilities. And don't forget, if you are an ATOL student participating in the live stream of our podcasts and recording sessions and Q&As, it's just one of the many exclusive perks of your enrolment. If you haven't enrolled and joined the ATOL community just yet, please visit our website to discover how you can start making a significant impact in your career with management system standards. So join us again next week. We are going to be discussing leveraging your management system for external audit success. And I already have a number of questions I'd like to ask Jackie outside of what we have planned. So I'm sure all of you do too. So thank you. Until next time, keep leading the standards and goodbye for now. Thanks for joining us once again as we lead the standard. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast for more episodes just like this. And don't forget to leave a review if you found today's episode informative and inspiring. If you're already an ATOL student, remember participating in live Q&A sessions just like this is one of the exclusive perks of your enrolment. And if you're not already a student, join us at our website www.auditortrainingonline.com to learn more about our courses and how you can start making a difference in your career in ISO management system standards. So join us again next week as we not just meet the standards, but we lead them.